Hi everyone, I'm Kate. I'm an English teacher here on Verbling. Today's class is a reading and speaking class. It's for intermediate students. And basically what we'll be doing is reading a news article, talking about some sort of new vocabulary and phrases from the article, and then at the end we'll save some time for discussion. For those of you who are watching and are new to Verbling, Verbling is a language learning platform that offers English and Spanish classes, group classes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it also offers private classes in more languages, and that's something you'll work out with a private tutor. So again, today's class is for intermediate learners. It's a reading and speaking class. We'll be reading a news article talking about some new phrases, hopefully some new vocabulary, and then we will be discussing the article at the end of class. So let's see. Welcome back, Ali. Oh, great. We have 3 returning students from my last class. So hi, Ali.
Hi again.
Hi again. Hi, Saku.
Hi again, teacher.
Hi, and hi, Raphael.
Hi, Kate.
All right, so great to have all of you back. I think we'll wait a few minutes to see if some other students are joining us. But before we get started with our article and reading and everything, I want you to tell me, do you like to read the news in your own language? Do you read the news every day? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I often read news every day in my language. For yes, especially in the morning when I start working in my office.
Good. Do you like to read the news in the morning? Do you watch the news on TV, or do you prefer to read the newspaper?
It depends, but I think now I prefer reading reading news because now we often use I often use uh, my smartphone or my laptop connect internet, and I think it's great to update the news to internet from internet.
Yeah, that's true.
And yes, now I I don't have time enough to watch the television.
Yeah, and that's true that
Yeah.
you can get so many updates now on a smartphone that you're always getting the latest news, so what we call breaking news, right?
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And let's see, I want to say hello. Hi, Adela.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thanks for asking.
Good. And hello again, Allah and Anna.
Hello, teacher.
And welcome to Sarah.
Hello. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks. Sarah, where are you calling from?
I'm from China.
From China. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so great to have you all here. I'll just sort of say again what we'll be doing today. So today's class is essentially about reading and speaking. So we'll be sort of reading a news article that's fairly recent, hopefully learning some new vocabulary and expressions from the article. And then at the end of the class, we'll sort of open it up for discussion of the article. And so, and hi to everyone watching. Nice to have you here. So I had asked everyone if they like to read the news in their native language. And I think a lot of people, you know, as Saku was saying, you wake up in the morning, you have coffee, you read the news, and see what's happening in the world. I think reading the news in English can be a really interesting way to learn some new words and expressions. So hopefully, reading today's article might motivate you to read the news on your own as well. And the sort of theme of today's article is mental health, which I know is very different internationally, and it's something for me as I studied. Some of you know this. I studied psychology, and that's what I'm really interested in. So I like this article a lot. And I guess, what do you think of when you hear mental health, and what is mental health something that's very important to you and something that's talked about a lot in your country? Let's start by talking about this a little bit. So is mental health a topic that is sort of discussed frequently in your country?
Sometimes mental health is a subject which appears in the news due to maybe some patients committed some crime, and many people feel fear. In these cases, I think many of them feel very bad, but I think it's a big problem because many these people suffer for depression or schizophrenia or problems like that, which are chronic, and it's a big problem, and which last many years, and society only listen to them when there is a crime, but the daily situation in their families I think is not known enough.
Okay, yeah, really interesting point, Anna. Any comments on this, responses?
In Spanish, in Spain, it's a controversial subject, I think, because has disappeared. They are a public mental health, but has disappeared for the normal patient, no with problems about no criminal or no. Because the psychologist and thinks is better for them to integrate in the society, to live with the family, to have an external control, no? But not in a mental health.
Okay. Yeah, good. Any other comments? Okay, so actually what Anna touched on is, you know, this idea of crime and mental health is kind of the more specific topic of the article we'll be reading. So I think that's interesting. And let's see, I want to say hello to Jorge and Mead. Mead?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Spain.
From Spain. Cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And okay, Mead left. All right. So so great. So that was just a little introduction to the topic. I'm going to send you a link to the article we're reading. I'll post it. It's in the Verbling chat box, and here I'll post it in the Google chat box as well. Okay. So can everyone see this article?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so again, this is really related to what Anna was talking about. The title of the article is Mental Health Nurses Staff UK Police Stations, right? So it's sort of the intersection of mental health and crime. Okay, all right, let's see, we have another new student, Thiago.
Hi, teacher.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. Perfect timing. I just posted the link to the article that we're reading. Okay, so why don't you pull that open? Okay, so what I like to do with these articles is I like to read it out loud first. So, we'll have a few students read the article out loud. And then I'll have you go back and read the article on your own. And the first thing we'll do is focus on the specific vocabulary and expressions from the text. So hopefully there will be some new expressions for you. Okay, but first we'll read it out loud. So this is an opportunity to practice, your pronunciation, your reading skills. I'll give you feedback on any mistakes I notice. Okay, so let's see. Would someone like to start reading? Maybe the first half of the first paragraph?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Mental Health Nurses Staff UK Police Station, 7th January 2014. The UK government has announced a pilot scheme to help mentally ill people who have been arrested by the police. Mental health nurses will work in police stations in 10 different regions across England. The aim is to identify those with mental health issues as early as possible so they receive the correct treatment.
Great. Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there. Let's see. Can someone finish that paragraph, please?
Can I try to do that?
Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah. The UK's Care and Support Minister Norman Lamb explained, diverting the individual away from offending and helping to reduce the risk of more victims suffering due to further offences benefits everyone. The minister in charge policing, Damian Green, said police officers should be focused on fighting crimes, and people with mental health conditions should get the care they need as early as possible.
Great, thank you. Good. Okay, who can continue reading the first half of the second paragraph?
I can.
Okay, great.
Okay, the pilot project could have a big impact on how the UK's police force uses personnel and resources. Police officers currently spend up to 25% of their time dealing with suspected offenders with mental health problems. This is the equivalent of around 2,000 officers.
26,000.
26,000, yes, sorry.
It's okay.
Paul Dickens of the charity Rethink Mental Illness welcomed the new initiative. He said, "All too often, the way our criminal justice system deals with people with mental health problems leads to poor outcomes for individuals, frustration from police officers, and others." He added, "This initiative has the potential to stop people going unnecessarily to prison, reduce reoffending rates, and save millions of taxpayers' money."
Great, good. And one thing I've noticed, I don't know why, but this tends to happen with speakers of Spanish, is with plural words. So let's see, where was it? So I think in the first sentence, the word resources. Make sure you're pronouncing the ES at the end of plural words like that, right? So resources. Okay, but good. Very good. Thank you all for reading. So hopefully there are some unfamiliar words in this article for you. So what I want all of you to do now is take, 3 or 4 minutes and reread the article and write down any words or phrases that are unfamiliar or new to you, so things that you don't understand or have never heard before. So any words, phrases, sentences, whatever. Write them down, and then I'll open up the class for questions. Okay? So just read this to yourself, and in about 4 minutes, I'll open it up for questions. Also, there's one small mistake in the article. In the first paragraph, in the last sentence where it says the minister in charge policing, it's missing of. It should say the minister in charge of policing. Sorry about that. Okay, are people finished reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, good. If you're not finished, that's okay. But I'll open it up for questions. So is there anything you would like to ask about? Any words, phrases, or sentences that were new or confusing?
The word personnel.
Personnel. So personnel, a synonym for personnel is staff. So like workers.
Oh, I see.
Good question. Other questions?
What is equivalent?
Equivalent means equal. So this is the same as, or the same amount as. Does that make sense?
In this context, the word diverting,
Uh-huh.
what meaning has? It's more like bring away or entertaining.
No, it's more moving away. So,
Ah.
good question. Yeah, because diversion means entertainment, right? But to divert in English mean the verb to divert or diverting means to change the path of, right? To push away from. So here it means she's talking about the sentence that says diverting the individual away from offending, right? So so helping people from avoiding committing crimes, basically. Good question, Anna. Okay. Other questions? Does everyone know what a pilot scheme is?
Trial?
Yeah, so
Trial plan.
good. Mm-hmm. So a pilot project, we usually say a pilot project. The word scheme is interesting. A scheme by itself can mean either a plan or it can also mean sort of a devious plan, right? Something that's sort of dangerous, right? But in this case, it's a more neutral meaning. It just means a project. So yeah, an experimental project or a trial project. Good. Let's see. What are initiatives?
Primary or these something that you begin with?
Sorry?
Things that you begin with.
Things that you
Initiative.
begin with?
Initial.
Yeah, that's true. It comes from that word, but it means more sort of plans or projects. It's a more general meaning.
New ideas about
Yeah.
something.
New
Ideas to new.
Yeah, it's more of a project, right? An idea that is put in place. An initiative. Good. Good. And I just want to point out there's a good phrasal verb to know in the second paragraph, which is to deal with. So it says, let's see, around the middle of the second paragraph, it says, he said, all too often, the way our criminal justice system deals with people with mental health problems leads to poor outcomes, blah, blah, blah. So have people heard this phrasal verb before?
Yes, I think it's to manage. Manage.
To manage, yeah. And it's very, very common. This is definitely a phrasal verb that you should know, right? To deal with is to manage. To manage
To
or
solve.
to solve, to cope. Good.
To hold,
To hold.
like hold a problem.
Okay, yeah, we don't usually use the word hold in that context, but I see what you mean. Yeah, it's to sort of to stop a problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What about outcomes? Is there
Results.
Results.
Outcome
Good.
result.
Good. And then in the last the last sentence, when it says reduce reoffending rates, what would it mean? What are reoffending rates? What is that referring to?
People who make again the same guilty or guilt
The same crimes.
crimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, an offense, right, is a crime. So reoffending rates are rates of committing crimes again. So people who commit more than one crime. And just note that the verb we use with crimes almost always is to commit. So to commit a crime. Okay? And so you can say someone is a first-time offender. What do you think it would mean to be a first-time offender?
First time committing a crime.
Yeah, so it's someone they don't have a record, right? This is the first time that they have done something illegal, right? That's a first-time offender. Whereas a reoffender is someone who commits multiple crimes. Okay, so just something to note. All right. So any other questions about anything that was confusing from the article? Okay. Feel free to ask if you think of anything else. Okay. So before we discuss the article, I just want to look at the true or false activity in the right column. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to work on this activity by yourself. So read the sentences and decide if they are true or false. And then we'll review it together. So take 2 or 3 minutes and work on that activity on your own.
Which exercise are you referring?
Sorry, it's the one that says true/false.
Thank you. Okay, I understand.
Okay. Okay, so let's review these. It's okay if you're not quite finished. We'll talk about all of them. Can someone read sentence A and tell me if you think it's true or false and why?
Yeah, yes, teacher.
Go ahead.
Okay. The UK is training mental health workers as police officers. True.
It's true. Okay, why do you say that it's true?
Because what it has announced a police scheme because there is nurses. They will work as police officers in stations. Mental health nurses will work in police stations in 10 different regions.
Okay, does everyone agree?
I disagree because
Why?
because it's not training health workers directly. Health nurses work in the police officer.
Okay, yeah.
No, as the police officer in the police, in the police station, no?
Yeah, so it's a subtle distinction. This one is actually false because, Allah, you're right that they're training, they're bringing mental health workers into the police stations, but they're not actually working as police officers, right? They're sort of keeping their profession as mental health workers. They're just working in the police stations. You see the distinction? But yeah, okay. All right, great, everyone. Okay, can someone do letter B?
Yes, the pilot scheme is being trialed in all of England's police stations. False.
Mm-hmm.
The pilot scheme is being
Child?
trialed in only 10 different regions across England.
Excellent, yeah, great. Good. Letter C.
I think it's true.
True?
The UK
Okay,
police,
can you read the sentence?
the UK police want to spot people with mental health problem early. I think they have the idea to identify the mental health problems, I think.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, right? Absolutely. This one is true. Good. Who can do letter D?
I have a doubt. What's the meaning of the word spot in this
Okay.
phrase?
Great question, Thiago. So to spot means to identify.
To
Okay.
find.
Yeah, to identify or to find. If you spot something, it's like you catch something. You notice something.
Oh, I see.
So they want to identify these people as early as possible. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Who can do letter D?
I think that I can do.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
can read.
Great.
The scheme aims to cut the number of victims suffering from crime. So I think that's true. Like it's not the main goal, but it's like a consequence from these initiatives. Like
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right, and this one is true. And do you see any? Can anyone find a sentence in the second paragraph that supports letter D as true?
I think that this initiative has the potential to stop people going unnecessarily to prison, reduce reoffending rates, and save millions in taxpayers' money.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And the sentence it was actually in the first paragraph. The sentence that says, but yeah, that's true. But the UK's Care and Support Minister Norman Lamb explained diverting the individual away from offending and helping to reduce the risk of more victim suffering, blah blah blah. Right. So that's where they talk about the victims of these crimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
great. My fault. I thought it was in the second paragraph. Okay. Letter E.
I think it's false.
Okay. Why don't you read the sentence, Adela?
UK police officers use up to 25% of their time in mental health training. I think they spend this time to identify the problems, the mental health problems, etc., but no in the training.
Good. Yeah. So they spend a lot of their time actually dealing with patients or with criminals who have mental health problems, but it's not actually in this mental health training. The difference. Good, Adela. Okay. Who can do letter F?
Shall I read?
Go ahead, Anna. Yes.
A mental health charity was happy with the new scheme. I think it's true.
Good. Yeah.
Yes, because in the last paragraph, this man said that this initiative was welcomed, the new initiative.
Exactly, yeah. So this question was basically exactly right, Anna. It was asking you to understand that to welcome something. If you welcome something, you're happy with it, right? Okay. All right. Letter G.
Can I try to do it?
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. The charity said the current situation is frustrating for police officer. I think it's false. Because it's frustration from the police officer. It's not for police officer.
This one is tricky. This one's actually true. So that's a good. No, I'm glad you spotted that difference because this is something I wanted to point out. So frustration for police officers, it means it's so saying frustration for police officers and frustration from police officers, it's the same thing. But interestingly, we can express it in two different ways. So it can cause frustration for police officers, and it can lead to frustration from police officers.
Okay.
But yeah, so this one is true. Okay, good. And who can do the last one, letter H?
Okay, maybe me.
Go ahead, Ali.
I think it's false. Because the new scheme will cost taxpayers more money. I think it will cost less money for taxpayers because a charity says this initiative has the potential to stop people going unnecessarily to prison, reduce reoffending rates, and save millions in taxpayers' money.
Yeah, so in fact it's the opposite, right? Okay, excellent. Okay, very good work with that, class. Are there any questions? Okay, so we have, I'm very happy, we have a lot of time for discussion of this article. And I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, because for me this is a really interesting topic. And a few of you sort of shared, what some insights into what into the issues of mental health and how it's perceived in your country. And I would like to hear a lot more about that as well. So let's start by talking about the article. What are your general impressions? What do you think of the article? Do you think programs like this are a good idea? Do you think this would work in your country? Let's hear some perspectives on this.
Sure, I think it's a good way, and I think it may reduce the crime, and I agree many of the crimes are which is maybe which have a mental disorders background or something like that can be avoided in such a way. I recently read a book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. Yeah, great one. And I, for the first thought, I was thinking it was why he said change your brain. I was thinking it's another way of saying change your mind or change the way you are thinking. But when I read the book, he's talking about the real brain, and the problem is really in the brain, or those are maybe have some troubles, even if it's subtle troubles in their brain. Okay, so the way to confront these problems is to give medication or to give a solution that help really, and not just talking about the behavior, because there is a reason for this behavior. Okay, even for minor things like anxiety, he talked about he talked about anger, and he was giving real examples, and it was interesting because he was talking that everything is related with the brain. And a good example, maybe he wrote in the book, he described the hard disk maybe for the computer, and the hard disk maybe when you blow or drop your hard disk or external, let's say, hard disk,
Hard
there
drive?
will be yeah there yeah memory storage. There will be a bad sectors in that hard disk, and it will not work properly as before. And he illustrated that brain is the same thing. So these, for example, boxers who are hitting each other on face, or one who's dropped and has had a hit in his head, he will have a problem even it's not shown or even it's not obvious, but it's there. And we have to solve it, changing or giving some strategies to change. If it doesn't work, he will go to medication. Even if you see the problem is not that big or not that huge problem, but he illustrated that it's a brain problem.
Yeah, so that these are actual chemical or structural problems in the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting. That's a great book for anyone who's interested.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, any comments, responses? Excuse me. You need to do the talking because I'm losing my voice.
Yes, I think that mental health is very important, and in this case, the officers, police is dealing with people who they aren't able to treat with them. They aren't formatted, or they didn't study anything to solve their problems. Then it's a difficult point in their work. I think they need help. They need help to improve the situation, and this scheme, I think, is very positive in this way, and I think it's necessary, and it will be good to improve the system.
Good, yeah, I think that's a great point, right? That a lot of people working in police stations don't have any mental health training, right? That's not their background. So they need people who are actually experts in this field.
Yes.
Good, yeah. Other responses or comments?
I'm not sure if identifying the health, the mental problems in people is the only solution for avoiding new crimes.
Okay.
I think it's important, but as Adela said before, in Spain, I don't know, in other countries, people who suffer for mental health have many resources nowadays. Many houses for these people are closing or are closed nowadays. And for society, for families, is a big problem too, because many of them don't know how deal with these people. So many identified people with diagnosed. Many people are diagnosed. Is okay. Diagnosed with mental health are living in society nowadays, and we don't know if they can commit a crime or not. But I don't think it's the only. I'm not sure about the article. I think it's not a good way to avoiding the crimes. Don't produce me good vibrations with good feelings.
It doesn't give you good vibes, we say. Good
Yes.
feelings. Yeah. Okay.
I think
Go ahead, Thiago.
so. I think that the point here is that when someone with some mental health issues have some, for example, increase and commit a crime, for example, attack someone and make something. I think that in my point of view, so one big problem is that if that person go to the common jail, like the jail with another people. I think that is can be a pretty bad environment for this kind of people. So I think that it's important to identify the if a person have some mental health issues, to give to the person a better the more adequate environment, like to that person have a adequate treatment, and it's pretty much my point of view.
Yeah.
But if you identify after that you don't have anything, do you resolve anything? Because do you don't have this person don't have treatment, or if I have a medical treatment, don't have a control about the psychologist, or is the family, it's very hard for the family to have a problem in this moment, to control the family, to control this person is very hard if they don't have any mental house to put this person. I think in Spain is a problem for the family. It's very hard for the family, I think.
Yeah, I think that for this be successful, successful. Yeah, successful. It requires like besides identify the person that have mental health issues, like have also a structure for keep this person for enough time for this person become, how can I say, healthy again, like or this person get conditions to come back to society. So that, for example, I'm from Brazil. I live in Brazil, and here it's I think that's a biggest problem, because in general I think that don't have a structure like some place, enough place to keep this person and offer adequate treatment. So I think that's that can be a problem. I think probably in England probably is better. So yeah, the structure for keep and offer treatment for people that suffer of mental issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not, so after you identify these problems, you need a way to provide some support, right? So yeah, that's another
Yeah.
big issue. Uh-huh. Yeah, good. Other comments?
I think maybe it works. I don't know, but before that, you have to think about why people have some mental problem. Uh, if you live a difficult life, maybe some countries in the war or people live in economic crisis, something like that. Uh, there is many people uh, uh, many people can't think healthy in this kind of situation, and they have some mental problems. If you can't fix their problem, you can't uh, do anything with this kind of things. I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, healthcare nurses or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's so so they offer some discussion questions on this article here, and one thing that I think is interesting is this. There's a quotation that says, "Mental health needs a great deal of attention. It's the final taboo, and it needs to be faced and dealt with," which was said by Adam Ant. I'll copy it here. Do you agree with that? What do you think about this quotation? And do you think it's true? I mean, how is it perceived in your country, right? Like the way in the U.S., for instance, um, 40 or 50 years ago, if you said that you were seeing a psychiatrist, people would, that was a big taboo issue, right? It wasn't something that people talked about. It was something that people kept a secret, right? Because they were ashamed. And today it has changed, right? Now it's more common, it's more accepted, and but I think there's still progress that needs to be made in viewing mental health on the same page as physical health. So what do you think about this quotation or this idea of mental health as the final taboo?
Teacher, I agree with you 100% because maybe yeah, now it's more accepted, but it's still um, it's consisting something like maybe disgrace for the patient, for his family, so they try to hide it, and that's why it appears late, only when maybe a problem is obvious for all, or when there is a crime. Maybe then they start to say he was with a mental problem or something like that. So that's why I agree with the article that there should be like these programs, permanent programs that provide support from the very beginning and give medication and the prescription to, and that will affect, of course, and will reduce the number of maybe those who reach the end stage or the late stage of
Mm-hmm.
these problems. Otherwise, we just talk about it when it's too late. For example, committing suicide, and they always talk about it as why he didn't have some support or why he didn't have some more attention
Mm-hmm.
because of that, because there is something still like a shame about this issue,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no such enough support and treatment.
Yeah, great, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, and moreover, uh, I think that there are also like a lack of information, acknowledgement. Like
Mm-hmm.
many people like for example, parents don't have enough knowledge, information about this, and don't many times don't know how to deal or to perceive some behaviors of kids, for example, of the children. So I think that's pretty important in my point of view, that if mainly parents and, for example, teachers in schools also have uh, uh, more knowledge and information about this, that I think that the things can be improved dramatically.
Yeah, so more resources for people that are, helping children and people growing up that are at risk for these problems.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Other comments? I think this is also a cultural thing, right? Like this. I'd be curious to know how mental health is perceived or viewed in other cultures, and if it changes depending on where you live.
I think that here, for example, here in Brazil, uh, many times some mental health issues are not well perceived. Like some person that is, for example, in depression, like the people can say, "Ah, this person is lazy, don't want to work, don't want to do anything." So I think that have some about perception have some issues about this, but that I think that's for lack of knowledge and information. I think that's the cause for that.
Good. Yeah. Any other comments? I would also ask, so I think it is a positive step, right, that they're giving police stations more resources and more people who are specialized in mental health care. But should we be doing that so late in the game, right? Like Allah was saying, maybe this is something that shouldn't be dealt with only at the final step, right? After people have committed crimes. Maybe we should be giving people resources earlier and hopefully preventing these crimes from even happening. I don't know. Any thoughts or comments on that?
Yeah, I agree, teacher. Maybe police station is a good place to implement this idea in, but it's not the only place. You have to work in the society before. Civil maybe groups or something like that, the support groups, not only, it's still late stage if it's only in the police stations.
Yeah, it's a good point. Support groups, because in general, there are support groups for people that suffer from, for example, is addicted for drugs or alcoholism, but for some another uh, mental issues, I think that I haven't, for example, here in Brazil, I haven't heard about something about these supporter groups. I think that probably have some lack of supporter groups for mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, so I'm going to have to end our discussion here. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I appreciate all of your comments. I think they were very interesting and very insightful. So thank you very much for participating. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see all of you soon in another class. Okay?
Thank you,
All right,
teacher.
so
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
Have
much.
a good
teacher.
one.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.